In this video tutorial, we will see how we can manually assign IP addresses through the basic knowledge of subnet mask. So in order to assign IP addresses manually, we should know what the subnet mask is, and if we are given an IP address along with its subnet mask, we should be able to calculate the network address of the given IP address. So to be able to do this, we should know what are the major classes of the IP address and their corresponding default subnet mask. So IP address is majorly divided into three classes, namely as class A, class B, and class C. If you see the IP address and you want to identify the class of the IP address, what you can do is you can look into the first octet of the IP address. If the number lies in between 0 to 127, then it is an IP address belonging to class A, and if it belongs to class B, the number would be in between 128 to 191, and if the number lies in between 192 to 223, it would be an IP address belonging to class C. And if you have any kind of difficulty in remembering these ranges, what you can do is you can convert the first octet of the IP address in binary, and you can easily identify the class of the IP address. And now let's look into the subnet mask. Class A has default subnet mask of 255.0.0.0, and class B has 255.255.0.0, and class C has 255.255.255.0. Now let's say we are given an IP address 192.168.0.57. Now I will see the first octet. It lies in between 192 to 223, so it is identified as a class C IP. You have to remember that these ranges which are given are inclusive. So now let's say we have a subnet mask 255.255.0.0, and we know that it's the default mask of class B IP address. So for understanding purposes, let's just convert it into binary, and we see that these are contiguous ones followed by zeros. Whenever you see any kind of pattern such as this, you should know that it is a subnet mask. So now what does this ones mean and what does this zero mean? These ones means that the first two octet, since these ones are till the second octet, it means that the first two octets of the IP address belong to the network portion, and the remaining are zeros. It means that the remaining octets belong to the host portion. And from here we can easily identify the number of IP addresses. Since this is the host portion, and we see that these are 8 zeros, and these are 8 zeros, so these are 16 zeros in total. So if we do to the power of 16, we get 65536. So we have these numbers of IP addresses. Now what you see over here is when we subtract 2, we actually get 6553 hosts. Since there are two kinds of IP addresses which we cannot use. One is the network address, and the last one is the broadcast address. Those IP addresses we cannot use them, so we just subtract 2, so we get the number of hosts. Now if you are given an IP address and we want to calculate the network address of that particular IP address, what we can do is let's just identify the class of the IP address. So it's a class B IP, the first octet, it's 172. Let's just verify it. Yeah, it's IP address belonging to class B. So what we do is we convert the IP address into binary and its default subnet mask into binary, and we just simply take the AND operation of these two, and we get the network address. It's as simple as that. So once we know the network address of the IP address, what we can do is we can easily calculate the range of IP addresses within our subnetwork. So we had this network address, we will convert this into binary, and we will set all these to ones. So we easily get the range of IP addresses 172.20.0.0 to 172.20.255.255. So this is the range of IP addresses that are available in my subnetwork. So now let's get practical and see how I can assign IP address manually to my computer. So what I will do is I will type ipconfig. Now I see my IP address as 172.16.74.67 and the subnet mask is 255.255.254.0. So we see that this is not the default subnet mask, but you need not to worry because the process will remain same. So this is the IP address which my host machine is having, and this is the subnet mask. I want to calculate the network address first of all. So what I will do is convert these both into a binary, and then I will take the AND operation of these two, and I will get the network address. And once I get the network address, what I will do is I will convert this into binaries, and this zero portion I will make this all ones. So I get the range as 172.16.70.0 to 172.16.75.255. So this is the range of IP address I am getting, and as we know, we cannot use the very first and the very last IP address, as the first one is the network address and the last one is the broadcast address. So we will use the IP addresses lying within this range. But first of all, let's say I want to have the IP address 172.16.75 or 74.80. First of all, I will ping this IP address to know if it's being used by another host on the network or not. As you can see, we see the host is unreachable. It means it's not being used, so I can use this IP address. If it was being used, I would get a response from this, just as it would be similar to this. So if I get any kind of this response, it means that the IP address is being used, so I would not use that IP address. So I got no response from this IP address, so I'm safe to use this. Now here I will type in the IP address and the subnet mask, and here I will type the default gateway. Now default gateway is the IP address assigned to the interface of your your router. It's normally the first usable address of your IP address. So in this case, I had the first usable as 172.16.74.1. So it's my the gateway. It's a good practice to set your gateway as the first usable IP address. So now I'm good to go. And I am able to surf the network. So that's it.